So how are you doing now?
Well, I look skinnier, that's the main thing. You know when people say you look better after being sick, you kind of go, but what did it look like before? Like, you think of any celebrity back home, any celebrity, and you know that they've been pulled down the peg.
That's exactly what they want you to think. Casey, great to have you on. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
No, thank you.
I know that you've been feeling a bit rough at the over the past couple of weeks. So how are you doing now?
Well, I look skinnier, that's the main thing. You should have seen me before I got sick. That was you know when people say you look better after being sick, you kind of go, well, what did it look like before? But,
I will say that I have to ask, with you being an actor, it's not Ozempic or anything like that.
no, I can't afford it. It's only the big timers get the Ozempic. You know what I mean? I can't maintain it. If I got one, I'd probably get like one pen and then mess it up and have a skinny earlobe or something.
Yeah, fantastic. No, well, look, I think we're all in that sort of New Year gym bunny type mode at the moment, and coming off that motivational sort of.
Oh, well, my Instagram is. In reality, it's not. But my Instagram is definitely like pumping out iron and going for 5 a.m. walks and inspirational quotes, all that.
We have to do all of that, don't we? It's like,
When does it fade off? Mid-February? Is that when you can kind of go, listen.
I'm kind of hoping. I'm still hearing people say, like, Happy New Year, and I'm like, when can we just fucking kill it off? Like, when is the cutoff? When do we get to stop being happy?
You know what the great thing about the Happy New Year is? If you can't remember someone's name, you go, listen, happy, how are you? Happy New Year. And then you kind of just shake their hand. It cuts out the whole, like, Peter, John, Paul kind of thing. So,
yeah. Well, we can obviously tell by the names that you chose there that you're very firmly Irish, despite being based out of.
Just like even though I'm called Casey, I don't know what my parents were thinking. They went completely the opposite to, like, you know.
To be fair, Shannon is it's enough Irish. It's enough Irish that anybody would know. It's a funny thing.
It's from back home, but the Americans go, oh, you got two first names. I'm like, oh, here we go. Let's do this. Let's do this song and dance.
It's funny that you should say that. It's like the success that we've had on our side has been like how we got some of our first customers was using. I would go into LinkedIn and I would basically try and filter by second name, and you'll be aware of the term the Irish Mafia, which considering our history on these islands, we probably shouldn't refer to it as the Irish Mafia, but we do. But like all of the tech guys and Stripe, like the likes of the Collison brothers and Stripe. Obviously, I haven't spoken to them, but what I found was find somebody with an Irish second name that's based in the States, and they'll 9 times out of 10 they'll try and help you, whether they're in the mailroom or whether they're in the C-suite.
Exactly.
They'll know someone. Damnedest.
That's what you want.
It's so funny though. Like whenever you consider, like whenever you're at home, I'm sure that you found this, that people try to pull you down, but whenever you get out off the island, everybody wants to big you up.
100%. Like that's the one thing I'll give about the Americans. The Americans, they champion it. Like they champion everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas back home, they kind of, like, you think of any celebrity back home, any celebrity, and you know that they've been pulled down a peg once or twice.
Yep.
Like there's no one, like even like, I don't know. I'll give you an example of like Barry Keoghan, for example. This new lad, up and coming superstar, they will rip him apart. Do you know what I mean? He's almost like he peaked too early, and then the Irish like, oh no, my friend, no, come back here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you're familiar with some of his stuff. It's only a nice, interesting fact. What 2 of our guys actually that work in the office went to school with him. Anto Boyle, who's not with Barry Keoghan, no, with Anto Boyle, who's obviously making a big splash. I think it was it Masters of Airs or Master of the Air,
and he's in the new Sky. And he's in the new big thing that's coming out. He's in the new House of Guinness. He's the lead actor. He's the lead guy.
Exactly. He plays Arthur Guinness on the Netflix, and I think he's also on Disney Plus, or it may be an Apple show. The
Lincoln one, wasn't it?
He plays John Wilkes Booth in it. So yeah, no, it's great to see those success stories. But I think that the main thing that you kind of have to do is almost get your mindset out of being in Ireland if you can't get physically out of Ireland.
Well, do you know what? That's why a lot of them leave. A lot of people leave because of that. A lot of people, like, it's hard to be successful back home. I think, fair play to yourself, but I always find that people back home, like if you have a nice car, for example, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's kind of like, oh,
yeah, yeah,
I think it's difficult to be successful back home. That's why I love Dubai. That's why I love the
yeah,
States. Whereas it's more kind of accepted to be, you do well, you do well. That's it. But
yeah.
back home, there's always that like, I don't know about yourself, but I wouldn't, if I had a nice car, I wouldn't leave it in the village. Only because I know someone will go, well, who does he think he is?
Yeah, yeah. Although there are some arseholes out there that's like they get a nice car and it becomes their sort of like it's all they post about, and like those people that are like, you have to work as hard as I work in order to get this,
One of
that
those.
BS.
I want to be one of those guys. Who's the guys who up by your neck of the woods who does those competitions? Is it our Kings?
Oh yes, it is.
Oh my days!
It is.
I thought that was a scam. I thought that was an honest. I said a scam. Whoever falls for it. My brother's best friend bought it and won.
Fuck.
I swear to God. And since he won it, I'm addicted to it. I cannot get enough of those raffle
Yeah.
tickets. But
What is it for the non-Irish person? What is it, a raffle or something?
yeah,
So
it's like
it's like you basically buy, like, it's like virtual type numbers, and it's like one of them, another one of the big guys is the prize guys, and I'm like, how like they're giving away 500K
yeah.
a week, or like a trip or a house in Dubai sometimes. It's
That's the thing,
like
isn't it? Like the prizes are well, but it's very obviously. Don't get me wrong; it's a very simple concept. Sell
yeah,
200,000 tickets, and the prize is worth 100,000. You know what I mean? It's a brilliant
yeah.
concept, but you know, I need to win it. I'm just gonna say, I
Yeah,
just need to.
no, I know, and like what we find is because they upload the like the screen recording of them doing the like picking out the winner, and people, I've seen people being like, my name was just above that or just below that, and
Oh
for
no,
some reason in their heads they're like, I'm next to win this, I'm next in
no!
line. It's like, no, don't think that way. Like that's
Could
exactly what they
I
want you to
couldn't.
think.
I think I'm one of those people where where people go, oh, I be whatever happens happens. It's like that guy I think he's in the UK, and he has something like 600 million on a USB, but it's in a skip,
Oh
and
yeah,
but he couldn't buy. The council refused. He tried to buy the skip. He said, "Listen, I'll
yeah,
buy it," and then the council went, "No, no, I couldn't. If I knew I had 600 million in a
yeah.
USB, I couldn't like
Honestly, like
function."
I can't imagine the conversation that happened in that household when you find out that 600 million of Bitcoin has been thrown away. It's like, like
But
it
you know
would be
what? Yeah.
heartbreaking.
But I was just thinking though, it wasn't 600 when he lost it. I think it was like
No,
something like 4 million, and then everyone's going, "Oh, four." It's now 600 million. I
yeah,
would be every morning. I'd wake up knowing that it's gone up in value and it's in that skip. No, I couldn't. No.
it's absolutely crazy. It's funny that have you ever heard about the first ever transaction that happened with Bitcoin and with crypto?
Pizza thing?
Yeah, it was like it was like, I think I'm look, it's tech, so I'm assuming it happened in San Francisco or in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
But basically, I think it was two pizzas that got purchased for 13,000 Bitcoin, which I'll let Pam do the maths after this,
I
to sort of see
just
what that would be worth. And like, you would hope that you would keep some of it. Like, you would just hope, like, what is one Bitcoin as of this morning? Like $92,000.
that's what it's up to now, isn't it?
Like
Let
something
me just
something
work out what
crazy
that
like
is.
that. So
Well,
it's out.
I saw the guy who was famous. I can't honestly, it was not that famous. I can't think of his name, but he's the guy who went on Twitter and he said, "Listen, if you buy $5 worth of Bitcoin, I will guarantee you $1,000. I'll pay if it doesn't make $1,000 in 2 years. I'll pay for it." And only three people took up his offer, and now he's worth
Fools.
like I don't know.
Like, it's crazy money. Like, I think that it obviously didn't peak during COVID. We're at the peak time now, where with the upcoming new U.S. administration, but we'll steer away from politics on this.
How
But
do you
with
feel about
that,
crypto? Are you a big crypto guy? Are you is that like
so I actually was very fortunate to buy in a decent amount of crypto whenever it was sitting at around $3,000,
and
and
why
I
did you do
sold
that?
it.
Just out of curiosity though, what made you go, oh okay, at 3,000 I'm gonna jump in here and
It was a case of like, you know what, I'm in tech. I should really immerse myself into all
yeah,
parts of this,
yeah.
and like, you obviously don't want to lose $3,000 or however much it was. I can't remember the exact figure that I invested at the time, but it was a case of like, look, I'll take a punt, and if it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. But I wanted to
Right.
really see that world, and to me now, it's like the wild wild west with like the shit coin that exists like out there. And
Yeah.
I will say that the November 6th, I did buy a decent chunk of Doge
Right.
coin purely because of what's coming, and I'm going to try and gauge how quickly the relationship between the person that is associated with those three letters DOGE
Yeah.
and the upcoming administration in terms of what actually happens with it. I'm going to try and gauge, is this going to be good or is this going to be bad? But again, it just came down to wanting to be immersed in that side of the
But did you?
the world.
But how come you didn't? Because I'm always listen. I'm not. I'm definitely not smart enough for crypto. Like I probably buy the coin because it looks good, but like why didn't you go? Oh, I'm going to go with Bitcoin or Ethereum. What made you go Doge? Like, was there any
Oh,
particular reason, or you just?
so I've got Bitcoin still, and I've got and I bought Doge. Doge was primarily because of Elon Musk and like
Yeah.
the environment he's going to have in the upcoming administration. I imagine that will have a positive effect and impact on it. I've never wanted to get too deep into it because, as I said, I feel like it is the wild, wild west, and I know
Yeah.
Ethereum is one of the more reputable ones, but all of the other ones that like the meme coins and shit coins that are out there, they're basically pump and dumps, and you never know unless you can figure out some sort of reasoning or logic behind it. It's sort of like it just doesn't make sense to me.
You have to get
And
in
then
there
you
early,
had
though. I
that.
think it's one of those things where you have to, you have to. Well, it's like anything, isn't it? In early, out, like that kind of first. But
Yeah,
I know that girl,
yeah.
that Hawk Two girl. She's in trouble now at the moment.
Yeah, she is because there's again it's like a pump and dump. Even it's one of the Paul brothers. I can't remember. I can't distinguish between the two of them. The taller
Logan is
Paul
the
brother.
big guy, and Jake
Yeah,
is the one. Yeah,
I think it's Logan that's going through a whole court battle over his coin that was floating around. So it was just an interesting element of that, and even the NFT stuff is like, why the fuck are people buying pictures of apes to
yeah,
post like it was like whenever the metaverse was going to become a thing
yeah.
and died and it's like it's just no,
Well,
like I'm
I've
not
seen
gonna.
over here now. I don't know. It could be back home. I don't know. But in Dubai Mall, for example, there's a gallery, a shop, like a physical shop. You walk in and you can buy NFTs still. And I don't know, but I don't know who is.
People with too much money.
But then is there still money in it? Is it now a good time to buy because everyone's? Is it low? Is it going to peak up again? I just not.
Yeah,
You know.
it's because it's so fast changing and so like it's so difficult to track the trends, and you're almost inundated with concepts from that perspective, and
Yeah.
unless you want to sit down and fundamentally understand the blockchain and stuff like that, then it's kind of best to steer away from it. And I have a rudimentary understanding of it, but like not enough that I would be comfortable putting decent chunks of change into it. I
I
prefer to
know.
look at businesses and work with businesses and build businesses that offer real things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Real fundamental things, and then you've got like like there's obviously the darker world of crypto where
Well, yeah.
illicit things can happen, and like that to me terrifies me a bit. I don't want to be dragged into that kind of world of that. So I tend to if I was going to go towards Bitcoin or Ethereum, or Doge was more of just a bit of crack, to be honest. I'm
But
not going to lie.
I just don't feel I'm. I just. I mean, paint myself in a great light. I just don't feel I know enough to do. Like, if someone gave me a Bitcoin tomorrow, right? I'd be like, that's great. I have now 97,000 worth of Bitcoin.
103,000.
It's gone
today.
up. See, it's just gone up. In the past 5 minutes, it's gone up 6,000. This
There we
shows how
go.
much I don't know about Bitcoin. I'm not disciplined enough to hold it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way,
Yeah.
even if I had a Bitcoin at 10, 20, 30, 40,000, I would not still be holding it now. I'd be cashing in and going, I've made $4,000 and
Yeah.
I'm brilliant. Check me out.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
not disciplined.
I think having that mindset though is good though. Is like if you're content and then you just as long as you don't look at it afterwards,
Well, that's it.
and you think about the money you could have had, as long as you don't do that, then that's the upside. It's like
But yeah, but
what
this
was
is my
it?
question to you then. When for just take whatever you're meant to use your investment. When would you be happy to let it go? Like, have you got a number in your head to go? If it hits that, I'm cashing out. Or are you going? You know what? I'm going to write this out till this is my forever money. Or like, when do
See,
you feel?
it's an interesting question, Casey, because like we're hardwired to like always think there's if I just hold a little bit more, like you go to
Yeah.
Vegas and you'll see this in live action of
Yeah.
like, no, if I go one more hand, I'll get
One
my
more.
mortgage back.
Has to
If I
hit
do
red.
one more, I can do it. If I can just nail one more,
Yeah.
I can get there. And like that's the thing. It's just
Yeah.
like we're hardwired to do that, and you kind of have to take yourself out of that mindset and be like, I would be content with this. And the good thing is that look, these things are much like they're not similar to stocks and shares from a a real life perspective. But as with anything, anything only has value as long as people are willing to pay for it.
Well,
So
that's it, isn't it? And I think I think with the Bitcoin thing is because isn't it only something like 25 million coins or something like
yeah,
21 million?
yeah,
21 million actual coins that are doing it. I saw a brilliant thing the other day. I don't know how familiar you are with Kim Kardashian, but do you remember her ex Reggie? He was an American
yes,
footballer, not the basketballer.
yes,
He negotiated his contract in 2017 to be only paid in Bitcoin.
yeah. It's crazy.
To this day, he only gets paid like I think he's paid something like 1,000 coins a year or whatever it is. So now,
Yeah,
now they're kind of going, we now owe you 100 million.
yeah.
And he's going, well, that's the deal. 1,000 coins or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
I,
Something.
it's so I can't remember the name of the president of El Salvador, so forgive me for that one. But I
It's a
believe
real
that he
pub
was
quiz
what.
question.
Yeah, it really is. But like, if you look at what they like, he's a prolific poster on X, formerly Twitter, obviously.
Yeah.
And whenever he came into office, he bought like he took the country's treasury and invested a stack load
Did he?
into Bitcoin, and it's like crazy what leverage that's been able to give him from an
Well,
internal
isn't it?
perspective.
You
And
probably know the name. What's the name of the two brothers from Facebook? The
oh,
two
the Winklevoss twins.
They are apparently one of the top owners of Bitcoin.
No,
Yep, they are.
Yeah,
They are.
they were
It's crazy.
they were the big wigs behind. I think that their settlement out of Facebook, which is funny,
Yeah,
they must have felt robbed. I think it was only something like 60 or 70 million they got out of Facebook,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
put all of that into Bitcoin back in 2012, 13, and
That's
now
a
they're
long
one of the
haul.
biggest. Yeah, like that's some serious money back then, but they are the biggest. Well, apparently, so they say at the moment.
yeah.
Is there's obviously the tragedy that's unfolding in LA, and I think that last time that I checked, fires it's only like 25% contained,
Yeah,
between 18 to 25% contained, and I don't think the topic of climate change has been focused on a lot. It's been mainly, it has the government failed and so on, and typically that is the case. But
yeah.
there's also those underlying factors. I'm not sure whether you saw Bill Burr on the Jimmy Kimmel show just with these internet experts, but I would love to get your take on obviously AI and Bitcoin. They have the same issue where they're very, very energy intensive. So would love to get your take on is this only getting eyes on? I think it's an obvious answer. Is this only getting eyes on because it's the rich and famous and glamour of LA that's being burnt to the ground? Would we care if this was happening in Lahore, or would
No.
we care if it was happening anywhere else? And then any thoughts that you have, because I know that you do have an interest in tech, and some background in tech. So
Yeah.
would love to get your take on how do we manage the evolution of innovation, but also be conscious of the environmental impacts that come with that. I know that that's like a world solving problem solving question that I've just given you, but we'd love your take on those sort of two parts, Casey, if you
Well, I
if you
think for
can.
the first part in regards to the impact on the environment and that kind of stuff, there's a guy over here. He's a massive property guy. He owns a company called the Mac. And he's basically after Donald Trump's after coming around and saying, "Thanks so much to this guy." Pam, can you think of his name? The guy who owns the Mac.
I'll Google it.
Kind of, but basically, he's just after pledging $20 billion of data centers to Trump.
Yeah.
So it looks like I have a feeling what they're going to do, like probably they do with all the big stuff, is they're going to outsource these big centers around to the parts of the world where no one's looking or noticing.
Yeah.
Sajwani?
That sounds like him.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of the first world countries don't want these big data. They want the what comes with it. They want the Wi-Fi. They want the high speed. They want all their photos stored, but they don't want the big ugly power plants that come with them. And I think they're just going to be outsourced around the world to places where no one's going to bat an eyelid.
Yeah, off the beaten track, kind of.
Off the beaten track, you know, it's one of the, like, it's a... And then the next question is, well, what's right or wrong? Because then, obviously, these create jobs and they create infrastructure and they're being built, but the impact they have on the environment is massive, but we do need it. It's where do you sit on the fence kind of thing with it.
It's really difficult because you think of it as like, how do you regulate, and especially regulate something that moves so quickly, like the likes of AI, and it's something that I want to get into shortly. It's like the direct impact that, you know, there was the SAG-AFTRA strike in, I think it was it last year or 2023?
Yeah, the writers kicked off that with the SAG, and then the actors are kind of go, well, wait a minute, if you guys are going to get something, we want something out of this. Yeah. And I have a bit of a gripe with the SAG thing because everyone assumes that every actor is with SAG. Yeah, being with SAG doesn't. If you're outside of America, it doesn't benefit 90% of actors. Yeah. Because, say for example, Aaron, you want to make a movie. And you go, well, I have $5 million to make a movie. Now, if I use SAG, $3.5 million is going towards SAG. I have to make sure that Casey gets first class travel. Or if he doesn't use the first class travel, he has to get the money for first class travel. He has to have his own PA transport. He has to have 3 hours off. He has to have, you know, like SAG gets into ridiculousness at points that people don't realize, and people kind of like, you know, like the whole thing of you know, back in the old day, Motley Crue would have like 1,000 brown M&Ms. Yeah. For the big, you know, for the big guys, for the big SAG guys that you want in your production, SAG will absolutely cripple your production. It unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong.
Am I right in saying that there's like there's a certain limit, or I know that there's obviously a financial contribution that needs to go into that.
Yeah. So basically, how it works is that it costs about $4,000 a year to get into SAG. And then what SAG does is, it's like you said, it's a union. It makes sure that you have a break. It makes sure that you get X. Now, that's fine. But then it can cripple a production. So that's what you'll see, for example, so many productions then will go, well, wait a minute, we won't shoot in California. We will go off to Lithuania. No one's going to go. Now, Mark Wahlberg will want SAG because that means he gets his time off and he gets his guaranteed pay and he gets his residuals. There is good stuff, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad stuff. Yeah. But it's not sometimes it's just not worth for an actor to be in SAG.
Yeah, and like it's like
sorry. What is it we've got here with Abu Dhabi, that if you shoot in Abu Dhabi then they give you X amount back if you're gonna...
Well, that's a rebate. So basically what it is in the Middle East at the moment. So everyone remembers like Star Wars and all these kind of movies. Yeah, of course. So basically Jordan was the go-to place outside of America. If you wanted sand, Jordan goes, you can blow us up, we don't care. Yeah. So then everyone kind of went, well, wait a minute, you know what I mean? We got sand. So then I'll give you a classic example. When they were making the new Star Wars movie, the new not the new ones, the
awful trilogy.
No, what's the ones after it with Ridley?
Oh yeah,
When J.J. Abrams took over. So
oh
basically, what
yes,
they did was Jordan just assumed that they were going to get the job, so they built the set, and they were like, "That's great. We'll just wait until the 1st of October, and JJ will show up." Then what Abu Dhabi did was, well, they go, "Wait a minute. We'll build you the set, and then we'll pay you 30% rebate if you come and shoot here." Basically, it's an advertisement.
yeah,
So then
yeah.
they literally were in mid-air, and the plane diverted to Abu Dhabi. They shot here. So then now what that's happening is Jordan kind of pushed back a little bit, and then they realized it can't compete. And then Saudi decided to go, wait a minute, we'll give you 40-50% rebate. So if you're making a movie now and you shoot in Saudi, you'll get 50% of your money back straight away before you even start shooting.
Yeah, it was
So,
the
like-
exact same. It was the exact same case with Game of Thrones over here. Now, obviously, not any of the nice, warm, like beautiful locations. That's all outside of Ireland.
Yeah.
But all of the cold, dreary, depressing scenes
Yeah.
primarily filmed here. And then there was that whole part that did a lot, to be fair, for Belfast overall.
But that
although we
unbelievable
did
infrastructure,
have.
like there was like a city up there, wasn't there? There was like a whole
Yeah.
city built around like HBO. Just kind of said,
It's literally I could throw a stone and I would hit it from
Really?
where I'm sitting today. It's so interesting because I'm assuming you're a Game of Thrones fan.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you know that scene in the last season where Daenerys blows through the gates with the dragon. Spoiler alert for anybody
Yeah,
that hasn't, for the four people that haven't seen Game of Thrones. So like that was all filmed in Belfast. That bit was all filmed in Belfast, and you can still see like the char marks and stuff, which is quite cool. And we've got the museum here now, so it's
And what's
it's
the story?
definitely been
Are they
beneficial.
doing House of Dragon there now as well? Is House of Dragon being shot up there?
I don't believe so.
No,
So
really?
like these things, they don't necessarily have that direct knock-on impact for the investment the government's put in, but it does get
Yeah.
you that sort of, because we still have people. There's still like a Game of Thrones tourist bus that you'll see
Really?
floating around Belfast pretty much every day. So we'd love to get your take, Casey, on obviously my background is tech, and my
Yeah.
background is very much focused in AI. And we've covered the SAG side of things. What's your opinion then on? We can even stay on the Star Wars thread here of like them bringing Grand Moff Tarkin back to
Yeah.
life in Rogue One, with that sort
Yeah.
of and de-aging of Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian and all of that type of stuff using tech.
Yeah.
And then the underlying part of that is, what is the concerns from an actor's perspective of AI and these sort of deep fake type techs that are out there?
You can't stop it, Aaron.
Yep.
There's literally, if you're not already planning AI or how to get into that world for acting, then you are literally the person holding a donkey and the Model T Ford is coming down the road. You know what I mean? It's going to get so advanced. It already is so advanced. Don't get me wrong. It's the levels what they can do now with AI. What? How are you going to fight it? Like, I know some A-listers have come out and said, "Oh, you're never going to use my image." That's what I think Robert Downey Jr. said that. He basically just said that because he's like, "No, unless you pay me, you won't get my image."
Yeah.
You look at The Irishman, and they made all these actors, De Niro, Pesci, all younger. But that's what will happen. So what will happen is, Jack Nicholson will go, or his family will go, "Well, if you want, a young Jack Nicholson, no problem. Pay us 50 million, and you can make him young."
Yeah.
Now, if you're
I'm not
making
gonna,
a movie,
I'm not going to lie. I would enjoy them to do a new
that's it,
shoot of The Shining. Like that to me would be. I would go and see that despite all of the ethical concerns. I would
could you
definitely
imagine
go see
over
that.
every movie though? Imagine if you could turn around, like a big thing in movies is especially it's actually called a Stranger Thing effect. So the problem they had when they were making Stranger Things was because it was so successful. The problem was they couldn't stop the kids growing.
Yeah.
So it's literally called the Stranger Thing effect. So now they have this issue where they're going, well, wait a minute, if we make another Stranger Things, we can't have the kids because the kid goes through puberty. So we're going to get 2 years, but in the second year they become superstars and they want to go off and do all this crazy stuff and we can't stop them. So but what will happen is AI will go, whoa, don't you worry about that. We'll have, Daniel Radcliffe, take for him, for example, for Harry Potter. You can make 50 Harry Potters for the next 50 years and not worry about Daniel aging.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think for an actor's perspective is they're still going to need people to act. That's the thing. They still need that kind of stuff. But I think you have to kind of get on that bandwagon because it's a money game. It's all
Yeah.
money, you know. So
Yeah.
it's you look at, for example, the technology they're now using. I shot on it recently. It's unbelievable. Where you know the Mandalorian.
Yep.
So now they have these screens where it's no longer green screen. So how they shoot that now is they have a team of AI guys and tech guys behind the screen, and then the screen behind you becomes the landscape. So as an actor, then I can turn around and behind me I can have Harry Potter, House of Dragon with the touch of a keyboard.
Yeah.
And that's the future now. So if you're not
Yeah.
on board with that, then you're just going to get left behind.
Yeah,
You know?
completely. Have you seen the like similar to what you're talking about with those screens? Pam, if you could look this up for me, the actual name of it. It's like it's a Disney have created it, but it's like this. It almost looks like, see if you were actually an immersive VR gamer. Like it's
Yeah.
like this pod where it's like this it's like this floor that moves with you, and it'll generate the type of terrain that you're on and all stuff like that. It's just
Is that for gaming or is that for TV shows?
that's for them filming. Like, so that's for
Oh,
them
it's for filming as
actively.
well, is it?
It's for filming, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I should. They have a screen out here, and I was on it, and they literally. I was shooting. What was I shooting? I think I was shooting a ship on an oil rig, and they literally just go boop 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 boop. And next minute in front of you, you have this like you can't tell the difference. It's unbelievable. Like even from an acting perspective, I was going, "Oh wow, this is special." This is, you know,
Yeah.
this
So
is
I
different now.
suppose it flows quite nicely into, you mentioned the Stranger Things effect. I'm sure you are familiar with it, but are you familiar with the Streisand effect?
No, what's that? What's something?
Okay. So obviously Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
There was a picture of her beach house, her Malibu beach house, which I hope is still in existence, and God help her
On the cheap.
if it's not. And with that, so she there was a picture posted online, like a drone type footage,
Right.
and she got her PR team or whoever it was to go out there and basically try and get it ripped down from everywhere. And what this caused was people just start reporting on her trying to do this, which actually caused a ripple effect of her house being absolutely everywhere. So like those unintended consequences. And I suppose it comes into, like, from a privacy perspective, what's your view? Like from an actor's perspective, like it's sort of like
Yeah.
it's sort of like an unanswerable question a lot of the time, but it's,
No,
it's something that people need to be conscious of.
Yeah, I listen. I'm one of those people where probably goes back to what I was saying about Bitcoin. I'm not smart enough to care about, like, I'm not doing anything illegal, and
Yeah.
if someone wants to find out something, they're probably going to find out. Do you know what I mean? I always wondered, like, it's much more prevalent, I think, in America, this privacy issue, and you know, this business of Apple and Facebook, and they know what I'm up. Like, what are you up to? What I don't understand why everyone's listen. If the CIA or MI6 or whoever, these intelligence agencies, if they want to get into your phone, they're already in your phone, and if they're looking in your phone, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people are kind of like, I did not. Maybe it's different for you from a tech background. Obviously, if it's, you know, when it comes into where our finances and your company and you have secrets, but I think if Joe Blogs like myself is looking up, like, I go down rabbit holes on YouTube videos. I don't really care if, like, I always accept. You know, when it comes up, do you accept? Yeah, accept.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand the whole, the big element of private. For me, anyhow.
Did you follow the story of the Disney app terms and conditions?
Is that the one where they could say they could use you could use your information, or?
It was, well, they all say that, so probably. But however, more of I believe there was a woman, Pam, if you could Google this as well to see what if I'm correct on the facts here. There was a woman that was injured on one of the rides, and because her husband had accepted the terms and conditions on Disney Plus, Within that, it states that if you're injured on any Disney properties, that you have to go through their arbitration. You can't take them to court. So
How interesting.
this is like it's mind blowing that that there's stuff in there. Now I think that was overruled and overturned, and they've changed that now.
Yeah.
However, even the fact that that was baked in there was absolutely crazy.
Isn't it
Did you
amazing
find
that
it,
someone
Pam?
thought of that? Someone must have gone, you know what we can do here.
It's called
Yeah,
amusement park liability law. Yep, and it's
Yeah.
already in their terms and conditions. Interesting.
So if I go into Disneyland and I've watched The Mandalorian and I've accepted it and I trip in Disneyland, they can go, no, you've accepted the terms and conditions.
Pretty much now. I don't know
Wow.
whether it stands up, but it's like, and obviously Disney being one of the most litigious, biggest litigators out there. You know, I think obviously with. I'm not sure whether you've noticed this. I am a big kid at heart, and I love a roller coaster. Like I love
Oh,
the
yeah.
thrill
Yeah,
of a roller coaster. So I decided just before Christmas, you know, I would just go to Disneyland for Disneyland Paris for a
Nice.
couple of days.
Nice.
And like I honestly love it. But you were going around and you were like, these guys. You know, they've got
different levels.
Exactly.
I saw a thing recently where Disneyland or the Disney company and they've used AI or some technology to remove a cigarette from Walt Disney, every picture of
yeah.
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
So every picture of him has his two fingers together because he was like a 60-a-day, 70-a-day smoker. But for some reason, they've now got into all his pictures, and you can't find an original picture of him holding a cigarette.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like they've even got this. So they've got this paint I think it's called Go Away Green. So anything that looks ugly, so like a trash can, a piece of equipment that's there for their shows, anything like that, it's all painted this Go Away Green, which is like it's an optical illusion. So your eye
really?
you can't really see it. And then they obviously build the bottom floor of the, you know, like. I think it's called USA Avenue or American Avenue or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The big strip as you're walking up to the castle, and what you've got there is like if you look at the houses, they all get smaller as each story they go up, but it's
Right.
to be an optical illusion to sort of be like it makes it look like it's an actual building, but it's obviously not.
No
it's
way.
like it's crazy that
I saw a
like
thing
the
recently.
things that they do.
I don't know if you've seen this, but it's again, it's one of those, probably down a deeper rabbit hole than I probably should have gone. But they were showing the initial stuff that the animators used to paint into the pictures.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yep.
Where with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse up to no good and all these goofy
Yeah.
doing and then
Yeah.
when only when it was pointed out, I was going, oh my days, how did this get passed? But
It's absolutely unbelievable. And then you've got so they're moving away. I don't know how we ended up in a rabbit hole of Disneyland, but I'm going to go with it. It's an interesting one, sort of on the copyright side of things, and that's. But if you end up in Disney now, what you'll see is that they've started to. Mickey Mouse will still be there, but all of like the main sort of like squares and stuff that they've removed because is it Steamboat Mickey that has went out of copyright and anybody can use it now. They've changed their main character and then they're in the process of
Really?
incorporating their new character. I think he's called Fantasia or not Fantasia, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like a dragon, so they're very conscious about their image from that perspective. And
do you know what I find fascinating though is I can't remember. I love Disneyland. I think it's a great place. I think you have kids and all my.
happiest place on earth.
But I can't. Can you think of a Disneyland or Disney cartoon? When's the last time you saw a Mickey Mouse cartoon?
I would say, you know what it was? It was probably Fantasia, which is that, they were old Mickey Mouse was a wizard type one.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't even remember when it came out, but that's the only one that I can remember.
That's the only one I can think of. Isn't it mad that something since then? Like I think that was the 50s or it was 50s, 60s.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But like that's the last time I can think of a Mickey Mouse cartoon. Yeah, he's still
exactly.
1940.
1940.
Yep.
Oh fuck!
Nearly as old as Aaron.
It is nearly as old as me. I'm looking good for that age, though. So let's wrap up Is there anything else that you think that we should cover, Pam? Are we happy with?
I'll tell you one thing we were saying about the Palisades is it'll be interesting now to see what will come out of Hollywood with this Palisades situation. I think you're going to get a lot of big actors who won't. This will have a knock-on effect, not because they're built in their houses, and obviously they have a lot of money. But you'll see now there'll be a delay in Hollywood in a couple of years, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing the effects of the strikes and SAG and all kind of stuff. You see, there's absolute crap on Amazon and Netflix. Like, you know what I mean? People are kind of going, "This is rubbish," and this is the 2-year, 3-year mark when stuff would have been released. We're going to see this again in 2 years, 3 years, where these actors won't work now for a long time.
It's heartbreaking because it's heartbreaking for the obvious, like the destruction. Never mind the actors, just the general populace there. It's like it's genuinely devastating and heartbreaking. I wish that similar things in different parts of the world got the same coverage, but look, we live in a world where people care about certain things, so there's nothing really we can do.
But you not find it weird, Aaron? Do you know, I know I'm saying, but like, if you and I build our house back near a river back home, and it floods, they'll go, it's going to flood, so we'll go, well, maybe we won't build it. This is all their houses are built of straw. I find it fascinating.
No, it's so true. It's so true. It's like you know what always gets me is the TikTok videos of Americans shitting on the Brits and the Irish for like it gets to 22 degrees, 22 degrees, and we're like, I can't fucking survive in this heat. But it's because our houses are built to retain heat.
Exactly. We're built a bit of a huff and a puff.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're not built for the climate of this. It's an interesting one for sure. I'm going to end, Casey, with an interesting question, which is I adore going to the cinema. I love going to. I love watching movies. I love the experience of going to the cinema to see a movie. What is the best movie that you've seen in the past year?
Oh, you did me on that one, Aaron. The best movie I've seen in the last.
Other than your own.
Other than my own. I don't even watch my own. I'm gonna be controversial. I haven't seen a great movie. I can't remember the last time I seen a great movie in the cinema, which would probably be the last time I walked out of a movie and went, "Oh, that was a really good movie." Was the last Batman?
Oh, yeah.
I feel that was, and I feel that unless Christopher Nolan makes a movie, I don't walk out of a cinema anymore.
So you're talking about the Christopher Nolan trilogy rather than the Robert Pattinson?
No, the Robert Pattinson was a great movie as in a cinema spectacle, but I'm talking about
the recent one with the Lady
Penguin.
Gaga.
No, that's the Joker. No, that wasn't
with the Riddler.
The Riddler. I find that was the last time I walked out of a movie going, wow. And unfortunately, I think cinema is almost kind of like I said, if Christopher Nolan isn't making a movie, Gladiator was okay, the last one.
Right. I'm going to have to stop you there because I've got very, very, very strong feelings on this. I absolutely love history, love learning about history.
Yeah.
And I hope that Ridley Scott stops making historical movies. I had the same issue with Napoleon. For the Battle of Austerlitz did not happen on a lake, and there was no evidence of cannonballs breaking the ice or anything like that.
Yeah,
the Colosseum did flood, but there were no sharks. You can't if you catch a shark, you have to have it in a tank that is it can swim around in, otherwise it will die. Why did you not just use alligators? Like that would have been more realistic, or crocodiles, whatever is indigenous to there, because you can try. So I've got a lot of strong feelings about this. I thought Paul Mescal was just okay.
He went a bit popcorny on Gladiator 2, and I felt that unfortunately Gladiator 1 was so good. Yeah. That if you had to keep referring to your first movie and your second movie, then you're not really, Yeah. I know, listen, don't get me wrong, I'll champion Paul Mescal. I hear it sound like at the start of our conversation, bring them down. I just don't think he was the right choice.
No, I agree. I agree completely.
You know what I mean?
Interesting fun tidbit or interesting fact from the first one. they almost were going to cut that I'm Marcus Decimus, or what is
Aye,
what
you
is the
told me
what
this.
is
That was actually
yeah
part of the. What
the
was it you said about picking up the sand, Casey? You said that he couldn't get into character, and he says, "Look, pick up the sand and feel the sand." Did you not tell me a story about that?
Well, I told you that Russell Crowe signed on and there was no script. So there was a 21-page script, and Russell Crowe goes, I can't do this. Like this movie's too big. I'm not going to make a fool of him. Ridley goes, don't worry about it. We'll just do as I say. And then he did that opening scene where he picks up the sand and he follows the bird. And then Ridley Scott goes, don't worry, it'll be fucking sensational. And then you know what I mean. But I just felt that was a great movie. Gladiator 2 felt to me he didn't need to make it. Personally,
he didn't.
But
He didn't need to make it at all.
didn't need to make it, you know.
Yeah. Sorry,
Sorry, I interrupted you there for your.
I got a bit passionate on that. I will say that I will say that like I'm a fan of horror and gore, and
would that be your go-to now?
that would tend to be my go-to. I can't wait for Danny Boyle redoing or not redoing, filming or releasing the 28 Years Later. Like those are some of my favorite movies. I actually watched. It's the first movie that I ever remember Cillian Murphy in was 28 Days Later. And like I was watching it last night, and so I can't wait for that. I saw Nosferatu a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was pretty decent, but it was a bit of a. Obviously, Nosferatu is a rip-off of like the original Nosferatu, like the 1920s Nosferatu is a rip-off of Count Dracula. So,
well, see, they're making the It TV show now. Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
Unless they get Mr. Skarsgård back to play it.
No, he is. Apparently,
is he?
I think so. I think it's the prequel, how he becomes it. That's what I heard now.
Then I probably will. I probably will end up watching it. I suppose I know I said that I was going to wrap this up, Casey, but I've got an actor here, so I want to get your take on it. So, so there's a few things that I do to relax. I go to the gym. Yeah. I've got 4 dogs, and I game in the evenings whenever I can.
Yeah.
And we've obviously had some diabolical games turned into movies. But I was incredibly impressed with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey in The Last of Us. I'm not sure whether you played the games or whether you watched The Last of Us.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on those? Because there was the flops of Halo was awful, but what's your thoughts on that sort of that crossover?
Well, there's 2 things I like to see. Right, listen, Assassin's Creed. I'm surprised that didn't get picked up. I thought that had great potential. I loved the movie myself. I don't know if you've seen on Amazon. Is it Secret Level?
I haven't.
So if you look on Amazon, it's Secret Level, and what they've done is, and I think this is also the future of movies. You know, if you take Call of Duty or you take Warhammer, and you have these interludes in the game.
Yep.
So what they've done is they've made an episode out of these interludes. So there's a Pac-Man episode, there's a Warhammer episode, there's a Dungeons and Dragons episode. But what I mean, you watch it and it's like cinematic. It is unbelievable. And I think that'd be the future.
I think The Last of Us was the first time that I've ever, whenever I played the game, was the first time that I've ever been gripped so early on by the storyline.
And I think it did well because if you don't play the game, I think that's also a catch. Whereas if you can watch that with someone who doesn't realize it was a video game and go, oh, this is cool because it's a story about the girl and the guy. I think that's where you kind of have to catch the audience. I think if you go, Halo's too specific. I think if you don't play the game, then people are going to go, oh, well, I don't get it. Like, why is he a superhero? Is he not? Whereas you need a show where you can watch it with a partner who's not in that gaming world.
Yeah, 100%. And Pedro Pascal, it seems to be his niche now to be a guy in a show that transports a child from one desolate place to another.
That's his market.
That seems to be his niche. That seems to be where
I'll take the whole busload. I'll carry them on my back. I'll be able to pay for it if they give me the show. No problem.
Perfect. Well, Casey, really appreciate having you on. For any of the guys that want to find you, where can they find you on your socials, and where's the best place to visit you?
The old school Instagram of Casey Shannon Actor. Very simple. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not cool enough, and I'm not important enough to be on LinkedIn. So it's just basically Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, appreciate you taking the time. And everybody should go and have a look at Casey's work and
Cheers,
give him
Aaron,
a
appreciate
follow.
it.
Give him a follow on Instagram.
Listen to the
so
podcast,
thank you so
folks.
much.
This is a very exciting future, up and coming stuff, and very, I'm happy to be saying on it.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
SaaSy as